shadows stayed. My heart grew cold, my spirit weak, but deep inside I heard you speak. You are the one who leads me home, no longer lost, I'm not alone.
Greetings and welcome to a new episode of The Drip Line, where love and healing will flow into your soul. Tune in and come along this journey, allowing love and truth to permeate your entire being. Hopefully, this new message shared today will touch your heart, bringing you closer to your healing and empowering you for your daily life. Today's episode, entitled Hannah's Victory Over the Static Noise, is for all the Hannahs of the world, for all the women who find themselves surrounded by family and friends and other close associates, but still feel unfulfilled, lost, unseen, and unheard. Women with dreams and desires that remain unspoken, dismissed, hidden beneath the weight of external expectations, and buried underneath other people's desires. But then their prayers break through the noise, and the naysayers are ultimately silenced. Are you someone who feels surrounded but alone? In the midst of it all, yet not truly seen or heard? Could you be that woman, speaking but feeling ignored, desirous, but constantly being told, well, what for? Why bother? Why do you need that? You shouldn't have such high expectations. The questions continue, and you feel like you're existing in the shadows of other people's wills and desires. Is that you? The voices telling you to why bother, why you shouldn't. The voices that say you can't do this, you can't do that. The voices that say you're not worthy. They just keep dripping into your soul, filling you up with muck and hopelessness. Well, who are they? Who are they to say that? Who is shutting you down? Who has failed you, stolen your desire, or made you doubt your worth, or even that there's a future? Take a moment to reflect on these questions. You might even want to write them down and face the truth, face the circumstances, look at it, digest what is really happening so you can actually break free from the lies, break free from the pressures, break free from the darkness. Break free from the box that you've been put in. Despite our best efforts, many of us remain marginalized, ostracized, and minimized. And today we're going to explore another one of these women, Hannah, who was like that for years, but then she broke free. We get lost in the noise, buried in the expectations of judgments of others. We get buried and shaped by their shallow perspectives and misinformed opinions. And we can often feel like we're just another face in the crowd, maybe just a number, maybe just a shadow of a person. We even feel like that most of all among those who are supposed to understand us, love us, and support us the most. Sometimes we end up living in the shadows, being there but not fully present. Sometimes I call it living in the in-between, crying inside where no one hears us, but yet right there in the natural. Yeah, it's easy to believe that our voice has no value, but that's a lie. Sure, we hear everyone else when they're not hearing us. And I call that the static noise. Loud and chaotic, careless, apathetic, and devoid of truth. But there is a vibrant sound that we are meant to carry. There's a sound of truth that is knitted within us, that needs to be explored, that needs to be heard, that will keep crying, that will keep maybe even yelling and screaming until it bursts forth. See, we try too often to adjust to the static noise. We become shaped by the static noise, by what we hear, by what we're told. But the real you, the one with dreams, desires, and purpose, over time will get louder and expressed one way or the other. In tears, cries, expressed in ways that don't manifest the most beautiful part, the truth of it, due to those struggles. But if you keep fighting and believing and holding on, those inner dreams, desires, the real you that God created you to be, that true destiny that was knitted within you before you were in your mother's womb will burst forth in all of its beauty, shining like a diamond. The truth inside of you is calling out. Don't ignore it. You do have a purpose. Your dreams can be realized. Your dreams have worth. You have worth. And you have desires that actually must be fulfilled, that are screaming to be fulfilled. Yes, life has a way of drowning out that vibrant sound. Static noise fights hard, but we have to fight harder to let that vibrant sound come forth. The unexpected hardships and the unwanted struggles seem to always threaten to silence that inner beauty, that inner calling, causing us to forget the beauty and the destiny that awaits us. But I want to remind you of Hannah, this woman who for years was tormented by her husband's other wife, not really understood by her husband, and mischaracterized by a leader. Hannah, a woman that we find in the first book of Samuel. Yes, Hannah was one of those women who had to fight through all of it. In 1 Samuel, we read about Hannah's struggle. The other wife, that other woman, or that other voice, had children, had what Hannah wanted. Hannah remained childless. Hannah remained fruitless. And for years, Peninnah, that other woman, that other voice, tormented her, reminded her of what she didn't have, reminded her of what she wanted, and was cruel, not loving but cruel, condescending, and brutally reminding her that obviously she wasn't good enough to produce. And her husband didn't understand her pain. Her husband, loving though he was, thought that he was enough for her. The ego spoke. But Hannah's soul was deeply vexed. And even the priest misunderstood Hannah, accusing her of being drunk in this history. So Hannah was alone in her pain for years on end, misunderstood by the very people who should have supported her, judging her, misreading her, characterizing her in ways that weren't true to her, shaping her, or trying to, just pressing her down in her misery. I'm sure many of us can relate to this experience. The ones who should understand us often invalidate our struggles, making us feel like our emotions and experiences are exaggerated, extra, or imagined. The narrative gets twisted, and we are left with shame and confusion, questioning who we are, questioning so many things about us, doubting ourselves, and speaking negatively. We expect our loved ones, our friends, and our family to hear us and comfort us, but too often they remain oblivious, either because they don't want to confront our pain, either because they're too wound up in their own pain, their own situations, their own desires, or because it's just easier for them to ignore it. See, sometimes we're just too lazy to care. Sometimes we're just too self-centered to care. It's so tragic and unnecessary. And we know, we've heard that hurting people hurt people. And we also know that some people can be so self-serving or self-absorbed that they will willingly and knowingly leave others in despair. And in Hannah's case, the other woman, that other voice, the Peninnah, felt the need to flaunt her successes and remind Hannah of her own pain. Her husband, Elkanah, didn't meet her in her deepest moment of need. Sure, he gave her material things and gifts, but he failed to really stand with her, to really hear her. He failed to comfort her in a matter that was needed. He didn't pray with her. He showered her with gifts, but that's easy. He had money. He could just buy something. Don't we oftentimes see when people are incapable of feeling, they will buy things to try to cover up their lack? So here he is showering her with gifts and saying, but aren't I enough for you? But did he really stand with her? Did he pray a heartfelt prayer with her? You know, prayer is one of the most powerful gifts anyone can give. It is so powerful, it becomes material. The connection that we have with God is more precious than silver or gold. So here we are today, contemplating where you are. Where are you today, woman of God? Are you like Hannah, surrounded by family and friends, but drowning in sorrow? Or perhaps you're like Peninnah, blessed with much, but still motivated by bitterness and the need to hurt others because you really have never truly experienced love yourself. Or maybe you're Elkanah, always giving, but still focused on yourself. And maybe you're like Eli, a counselor or a leader, a person of influence who finds it easier to judge than to empathize and help. The truth is, we are never alone. No matter how isolated we may feel, God is always with us. God is with you. His word, his presence, and his love are constant and unending. Our tears are held in his heart. And Psalm 56 tells us so. It says, you keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. My enemies will retreat when I call to you for help. This I know. God is on my side. Psalm 139:13 and Deuteronomy 31 verse 6 also affirm that God will never leave us or forsake us. He loves us with an everlasting love. We must tap in. In the most painful moments of my life, I know that when I felt like I couldn't take another step, I would cry out to God. Even though the grief was beyond words, even when I was shocked that I was grieving so much, I knew I had to turn to Jesus. There is no true life for me apart from him. And I truly believe that for you. Just as God answered Hannah's prayers and blessed her with not one, but many children, he answers our cries too. It's not just for the history that we read about in the Bible. It's for us today. His promises are true today. His promises are real today. His faithfulness exists today. His grace, which is his power and love and his mercy, he says is sufficient for us to carry through. We just have to tap in. We just have to believe, not just to survive, but to thrive and to overcome all the challenges that try to defeat us. We have to tap into his word and align with his desires for us. And then that vibrant sound will be given birth. The static noise will be shut down. It is then that we can find peace, strength, and understanding, and a hope for our future. Yes, like Hannah, I too found healing and strength when I surrounded my desires to God, when I surrendered everything to God, when I truly believed that he was and that he is, and that he was the same yesterday, today, and forever. When I committed to his will, when I believed in his grace, it actually has carried me through. He promises rest for our souls if we seek him first. And he says so. Yes, it's not always easy, but his grace is more than enough to bring us into a place of victory, a place where that vibrant sound is ringing out and we feel joy, where we feel whole. Yeah, I had to learn to trust in his word. I'm speaking from experience. I had to learn how to trust in his promises and put my faith into action and to believe that he is faithful to do more than we can imagine. Even in my darkest moments, I had to practice listening to his voice, not to the voices of doubt and negativity, not to that static noise, but that serene voice, that voice of serenity. And I told God that even when I felt like giving up, I told him, I argued with him, but I said, do not ever, ever let me give up. Promise that you will hold me. And he assures every one of us that no one can be snatched out of his hand. So let's choose to listen to God's voice. It's a must, even when others are trying to tear us down. Who are they but human? Human voices that have been corrupted with disenchantment and anger and bitterness and judgment of its own. We have to listen to the voice of truth, the voice of creation, the voice that promises, the voice of love. We must seek him, we must trust him, and hold on tightly to his promises. Yeah, we've been abused, misused, trampled upon, experienced things that we should never have to experience. But we have to fight to not make it the only thing that we are. In 1 Corinthians chapter 7, it says, we're reminded that love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. True love, which comes from God, will enable us to lay down all the hate, the anger, and the bitterness that attach themselves to us because of all the bad and ugly experiences. It's only through God's love that we can overcome the obstacles in our lives. And if we choose to live in his love, if we choose to believe, we can overcome the seemingly impossible. We can overcome the abundant ugly. And no, it's never too late. So I encourage each and every one of you listening to meditate on God's love and allow it to fill your heart and let it transform your thoughts and heal your wounds. Yes, it takes practice, it takes discipline, and it takes time, but it is worth it. Seek him, trust him, believe in him, and watch as his love grows in you and empowers you to overcome, to thrive, and to move forward in victory, shutting out and shattering the static noise. I would like to read a little poem to you. It's very short. I don't remember how I came upon it, but it stuck with me, and I would like to share it with you in closing because it just rings true for me, and I hope it will for you. It's called The Light from God. What would the dead fire and the ring of ashes on the sand matter when morning dawned? Jesus is our sun. He rises, and the specters of the night melt into thin air, and joy comes in the morning. He floods our ignorance with knowledge of the Father whose name he declares, with knowledge of ourselves, of the world, of our destiny and our duty, our hopes and our home. He takes away the sin of the world. He gives the oil of joy for mourning. For every human necessity, he is enough. Follow him, and your life's pilgrimage shall not be a midnight one, but accomplished in sunshine. I am the light of the world. He that follows me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. Remember, Hannah's story did not end with unfulfilled dreams or desires, but she gave birth to many children. She gave birth to the things of God. She became fruitful. And we all can give birth to the things of God and be fruitful. Until next time, this is the Drip Line. Be blessed.